So so when we bought the place, it was tenanted until like mid-August, and it's the tenants are paying such a low rent, it's crazy. And so the more I could delay that settlement, the better.
Can you just unpack that a little bit? So that you bought the house from someone, and they were an investor as well because they've got tenants in it, and the rent they were charging was actually well below market rent.
$100 below. So they were charging $360, and when we put an offer on buying the place, like we already had valuation, like rental appraisals, $460, so like $100 difference.
Yeah, I almost want to pause there. This is like one of the things to be very aware of if you're buying a property is like always check that market rent, because if you're doing it, sometimes you can see that the yield or value proposition is much higher than what might currently be in place.
Yeah, it was crazy. And so I'm like, great. So when we settle the place, we're going to, because you're locked in, like you can't just go and kick your tenant out. So I'm like, okay, we're just going to have this tenant for a couple of months, and it's not going to be great for the hip pocket, but no worries at all, like long term.
Well, it is someone's place where they're living, right? You want to do the right thing by I actually try to be a really good landlord, right? It's like, I think landlords can often be seen as ruthless and like, I'd kick them out and get the highest rent, but it's like, comes with the game, right? It's someone's home.
Yeah. And I try to be a good landlord by just like letting the property manager do it. And like they don't want to talk to me, trust me. Like, no. You can be the nice guy. So anyway, what happened was, so for people who haven't settled on a property, like you have to do like a finance, kind of like a settlement thing in the middle, which is like, cool, you got finance approval, and then it's like the settlement of the properties a couple of weeks after that. So we had a couple of weeks to get finance, and then we had a couple of other weeks to get the final settlement. And this was like just as like interest rates were like bumping up and doing all these crazy things. And like, so the lender that we were going through was like having a bit of turmoil internally of going, oh, we don't know what like rates to charge and all these things. And so like they're getting all these updates, and like their staffing was less, etc. And so we were just struggling to get responses from them. But thanks to Aaron and the typical way that Aaron and the team do it, it was awesome. We got to delay that by, I think it was a couple of weeks, which again, I was happy with, because great, it's another couple of weeks off. This tenant's paying lesser rent. And then, so that was all fine after a couple of weeks. Then the main settlement, the actual people selling the house had to do some repairs in the property itself. So we found like a little bit of water damage, and we found a couple of other things in a detailed property inspection, and they just hadn't had it repaired during the time. Well, they tried to, but the tenants got COVID, which kicked it back another 2 weeks. So then the repairers couldn't go in. So then the plumbers and stuff went in, and then they fixed it all. But then there was still one thing they didn't fix, so that delayed settlement again. And then we went for a settlement, and it got delayed by a week. And so it actually kicked the entire settlement process out by about 6 weeks in total, which actually worked out very well for us, because by the time we took ownership of the property, it was so much closer to us actually finishing up our lease. Funnily enough, during that whole process, property increased by 10% without me paying any mortgages or anything like that. And the rent has actually gone from like $460 to $485. And the same tenants actually want to stay in the property. So they are fine with paying an extra $125 a week. And they have a rent review in 6 months as well after that.
Isn't that interesting? That was another thing by your experience, yours was delayed longer than mine, which, I mean, it's not a competition, but I did win settlement.
I know, right? Damn it.
Delayed settlement in certain conditions can actually be a really big win. So if you've bought a property and let's say they go, oh, we could settle in 30 days or 3 years, just in this example, your loan doesn't kick in until settlement does.
Yep.
Right. So if in certain circumstances, a delayed settlement can actually work in your favor, and yours did definitely here, I believe.
It was awesome.
An interesting part of the strategy. I know developers do this as well, right? They'll buy a property and go, oh, can I get a 12-month settlement? And in that time, they bring in a condition to like get their plans done and council approval so that they're able to delay paying the loan until they do it. I won't speak to the specifics. I've only done one development. I'm not going to pretend I'm a pro at it yet. Hint.
Drum roll.
But I will say that there's some interesting strategies that can be deployed there.
Hey, fellow business owner, if this topic and value-packed short video has resonated with you at all, and you want to dive deeper into being a full stack business owner, check out the full episode by clicking the link on your screen or in the description right now.